Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Parent Summit Africa conversation. This is day two, session one, and we are just about to start. Um, if you were here yesterday, you would agree with me that it was an awesome conversation and there were a lot of lessons to learn. Of course, we cannot overemphasize the need for such conversation. We cannot overemphasize the need to keep on talking about parenting, about the kind of family systems we're building, about the kind of humans we're raising. Because if we really want to bring change to the world, change in our society, then we need to focus on ourselves and on the kind of families we're building, on the kind of humans we are raising. So today we have an amazing conversation with Coach Adeh Jones. And he's such an amazing person. If you doubt me, just click on his Facebook profile and just go read up. He's such an amazing person. And when you talk about unconventional parenting, then he is the one that comes to mind. He is the one that has taking the courage to take a different path, right, to a very, very significant extent. Like, he has taken an unconventional path when it comes to how he's building his family, how he's raising his kids. And being an African male, I keep on wondering, how is he navigating, because it takes courage, it takes conviction for you to go a different path when everybody is going the same direction. So he's here to share his stories with us, share his lessons, share his challenges, and his why. Because why is important. If you don't understand your why, then you're most likely going to fall out of the way. If you don't understand why you want to take this path of conscious, intentional parenting, people are going to judge you, and you're going to start to doubt yourself, and you're going to fall out of the way. So in a few seconds, I'm going to bring him to the live stream, and he's going to share his story. And I'm very sure that we have so much to learn. He is very cerebral, very intellectual, an amazing therapist and parenting coach as well. But before I bring him, I'd like to say thank you to the people of the Bunkers Abuja who are supporting this particular conversation. They have sponsored this event, and we are grateful for them. The Bunkers is a co-working space in the city of Abuja, and I'd like to invite you, if you're in Abuja and you're looking for an office for your business, or a place you can meet your clients, or a place you can host your events, then the Bunkers is the place for you. Very affordable, very comfortable and creative space. You need to check them out. They are in the city center, Wuse 2. Just check the Bunkers Abuja. So please, with a resounding applause, please give us in the comments as I welcome Coach Adeh Jones. Yay! Welcome,
Thank you,
boss. So I'll
thank you
leave the floor for you.
so
Do your
much,
thing.
Dr. Vivian, for
I'm
having me here.
All right, thank you. So I'll
I
leave,
am
and
I am so excited to be here. I want to start by thanking Dr. Vivian for making this possible for us to sit down and have genuine conversations that pushes the boundary of culture, of religion, to be able to create a family governance system that allows each other find their true expressions. I equally want to thank you for making the summit, a possibility. I was part of the conversation yesterday. All the speakers you brought, they were phenomenal. So much aha moments for me. And of course, sitting where they sat to share, for me, it's a humbling experience. Well, let me start by introducing myself for people who might be connecting with me for the first time. I'm Adeh Jones, and I'm a full-time house husband, and I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm humbled to be parenting four. Small Malam will be 21 in December, and then we have three other smaller kiddos. Two age 5 and then one age 3. And for little ones, I am homeschooling them. So uh, we don't know where the homeschooling will stop. However, at the moment, I'm homeschooling three of our little kids, and it has been an amazing journey. I'll be sharing my story, I'll be sharing my experience, and with the hope that at the end of the day, we'll realize that you can have a life of design. You can be a parent that parents through intentional design. You can build a family system that runs through intentional design, right? You can be a husband, you can be a wife that is intentional with who she is. Now, there are a few things I would like to start sharing about my story. The first is I'm a full-time house husband. So the implication is I stay at home while my wife has her career to pursue. So for me, averagely, my day starts sometimes 2 a.m. where I have to wake up, do my morning rituals, pray, meditate, read, probably prepare some posts for the day, and then I make breakfast for the children, and then my wife who needs to eat before going to school, and then sometimes she needs to carry some food to work. And through the day, my journey is okay. We homeschool. After homeschooling, prepare lunch. Of course, wife needs to come back and then get food. Usually when she's back from work, she's tired, so she needs to eat. So we cook, we sweep the house. Of course, if you homeschool, you know how the house can look like. Oftentimes the house looks like a rat park. So we have to make sure we clean the house. And then I spend most of my day cleaning their bum bum. If you're raising children who are from age 1 to age 6, 7, of course, you do a whole lot of cleaning of bum bum. If they eat food a lot, of course, like our children, you wash, and then you do the dishes. Sometimes you need to take them out to play. Sometimes you take them out to the park to do other things. So for me, that's the how my day runs. And I kind of merge it with what I do, as a therapist. So there are times, I have clients, I have to run therapy sessions, I do coaching, I create time to be online, of course, to engage with people, to share my parenting perspectives, to share my family perspective on all I do. So a lot of people ask me, okay, how do you do this? And then there are three things I tell them, and then that's what I want to share with us. The first is, if I'll have my way, I won't be a full-time house husband. If I'll have my way, I won't be a stay-at-home dad. If I'll have my way, I won't homeschool our kids. It's not easy, it's not convenient, but I'm doing it for three major reasons. And then the first reason is, for me as a believer, I have an experience that where I am as a father, where I am as a husband, is a responsibility in a place of service. For me, and of course, I tell my wife, I tell our children, I'm not who I am today because of you. The kind of husband I am today, the kind of father I am today, is my allegiance to Christ. And I understand that his word said, whatsoever I do in words or deeds, I should do it in the name of the Lord. So the totality of who I am as a person and what I do is in allegiance to Christ. I'm just privileged to stand in the gap. So when I say I am a stay-at-home dad, I'm doing it because, for me, my greatest form of worship to Christ is the father I am. I'm a full-time house husband because, for me, my greatest form of submission to Christ is that I love my wife and then create an environment that allows her express her true essence. So for those who are wondering, okay, how do you do what you do? No, for me, what I do is my form of saying, Lord, I'm faithful to serve. For me, being a husband is service, and then being a parent is service. And as a believer, for me, what I do, at the end of the day, is that I want our children to grow up realizing that, oh, we had a father that represented Christ. I want our children to grow up realizing that, oh, our father wasn't just a father who lived religion. No, he lived what he preached. So I'm living what I preach. I believe that, every father needs to create an environment where, children get their wings to fly. I believe that as a husband, my partner deserves utmost respect from me. I believe that as a human being, she desires to express her true essence. And I'm not just saying it, I'm living it. Is it convenient and easy? Of course. But do I have to do it? Yes, I have to do it. And then the second reason why I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm a full-time house husband is because it comes from my experience. And let me share a little bit of my experience. I was raised by, okay, my dad, was a pastor, right? So as a religious leader, it means, we lived around, so much, religiosity, and all that. And I lived in an environment that permitted men to exhibit sort of irresponsibility in that sense, right? I lived in an environment that permitted a man not to be emotionally and physically available. I lived in an environment where, as a father, right, it encouraged that your children need to be scared of you, right? So you don't come down solo, you don't play too much so that you'll not be disrespected. I was raised in an environment where it's very okay for men to be unfaithful. So people will even ask you, are you okay if you don't cheat on your wife? Right? So and I saw my dad, who was a pastor, exhibit this form of irresponsibility. Right? I saw him being unfaithful to my wife, to his wife, who is my mother. I saw him being physically and emotionally unavailable. And then as a child, while growing up, I didn't have my father in my life. I never had a father-child relationship. Right? As a matter of fact, I resented my dad while growing up. However, for me, after some stages in my life, I said, no, I have to be better. I needed to break certain circle, right? I need to break that circle of men who don't respect their wives, men who are not faithful, fathers who are not in the life of their children emotionally and then physically. I needed to do that. And then for me to do that, I needed to work on myself. And I do what I do today because um, I want to be the person who stands in the gap to break that circle where men are not held accountable, circle where men don't model what they desire. We live in a society where boys and girls are raised differently. The average boy to be irresponsible, freedom, but that's irresponsibility. While the average girl child is raised to follow the rules, is followed to be, a responsible girl who grows up to be a responsible wife. What about the man? What about the boy? Right? They grew up without control. So for me, I wanted to change the status quo. I wanted to make sure that the change I desire starts from me. And the third, the reason why I do what I do is the awareness I've gained through the years. First, as a human being, as a believer, and then as someone who works in the field of science. And if you work in the field of science, you are so much concerned about evidence-based procedures. And as a therapist, I see this with the people I work with. They tell you, oh, I want to have a lovely home. How do you have a lovely home? What do you do? Oh, I want to be a happy person. How do you get happy? What must you do to be happy? Who must you become to be someone who expresses happiness? So I find people who they desire XYZ, but they don't have framework or structures to get XYZ. For me, I desire to live a life of design. Most of the things I do as a parent and then we do as a family are evidence based. And let me share 3 things we do as a family that for me are evidence based. Now, the first is for us, we believe that a cohesive family system is therapy for a child. A child who is raised, around families tend to grow up more having a better mental health than a child who is raised in an independent home where you don't have friends, you don't have social network, you don't have grandparents, you don't have uncles and aunties around. So for me, we intentionally designed our home around our in-laws and around our extended family. I live less than 2 kilometers it's a stone throw. We go there when we want. The children sleep over every weekend. That does for us as a family is it gives me time for myself. Of course, man, it can be overwhelming. So I need time to onboarding. I need time to detox, and then I need to provide for the family. And then how do I do that? My extended family offers that support system. Creates so have time with my wife. So if the children are over, in their grandparents' house, it allows to build on ourselves. Take a time out, rest, discuss, evaluate how we run our, the home governing system, and then allows us to recharge, to be in a place of strength, to be able to raise the children we're raising. So first, I desire that as a family, we should have a good relationship with our in-laws, with my mother-in-law, and then equally my wife with my parents. And then how do we do it? It wasn't easy, especially our parents coming from their place of dysfunction. I married into a home with a whole lot of dysfunction. My wife married into a family with its own dysfunction. It wasn't easy, but because we desired that we need to have a family that is coherent, a family where we all serve as support system, we needed to work on ourselves and then equally position ourselves where our extended family don't see us as a threat, right? And then secondly, what we desire to work is that on our family system is everyone at home has the privilege to find their true stars. You are not demeaned. No one stops you from being who you want to be. Everyone is encouraged to be who they want to be. Is it easy? No. Will they trigger? Do we trigger each other? Of course, we trigger each other. However, for us, our priority is that as a governing system, everyone has the opportunity to find their true stars. And then the other aspect for us as a family is trust. We trust ourselves enough that we go through the difficult phases of our life. Now, let me share one of the example about trust. For me, as a husband, my wife is aware of every kobo I earn. As a matter of fact, she holds the password to all the accounts we hold, right? All the accounts we have for our children, all the business accounts I run, my personal account. My wife has the password to all the accounts. Why am I doing that? For me, that's my expression of trust. If I can't trust you with my finances, I doubt if I really, really love you, right? So for us as a family, we trust ourselves enough that we get vulnerable with our emotions, we get vulnerable with our fears, we get vulnerable with our finances, we get vulnerable with our thoughts, and then we get vulnerable with our decisions. As a family, we are there for each other. As a family, we permit each other to take individual steps, no matter how they are inconveniencing for each other. Now, conclusively, for me as a stay-at-home dad, the major lesson I've learned is that it's very okay if we don't parent like the world. The world will tell you, no, don't get close to your in-laws. Your in-laws are this and that. No, it's very okay if for you it's different. It's very okay if you design your home to get the results you want. It's very okay if you design your marriage to elicit the results you want. It's very okay if you design, right, how you parent that elicit the results you want. It's very okay if how you parent does not make sense to the world. At the end of the day, what matters is who you are, what you do. Is it in line with your value system? Is it in line with what you stand for? Is it in line with your why? Right? I shared my why here. I said my why is, as a believer, for me, is standing in the place of Christ. My why is that I want to change the status quo. I want to change how what culture permits. And then I recognize that as an African man, I understand the degree of cultural and religious privileges I have. But the question I ask myself is, if I'm a woman, if I'm a child, will I still desire that someone treats me the way culture and religion wants them to do that? Now, the question is nope. The question is nope, right? And then for me, I've had a few experiences that allows me to treat my wife and the children first as human beings. Now, let me share a personal story. When my wife was preparing to get pregnant. Okay, basically, as a family, from day one of antenatal till delivery, I'm always there with my wife. So basically, if she's going for antenatal, I will hold her bag. We'll go there, we'll come back. So we're always there. I never skip one day of antenatal, and then I never skip delivery. I'm always there. So one day, we went for antenatal, and then I sat down where the woman was sitting down. As a matter of fact, I'm always, the male in the antenatal, is it ward or thereabout. And then a lady now said, in the conversation, she said, wow, she said she admired the fact that, she's always seen me here with my wife, and she has always been watching me. And then she said, how she wish her husband can just come and spend 1 minute with her here. It will mean the world to her. Wow, that spoke volume to me. And then I told myself, I said, haha, over my dead body, will I allow my wife go through the stress of carrying the baby to delivery, and then I'll allow her to go through the stress of raising these children? Lie, I will be 101% available in raising the children. Listen, the truth is, women go through so much during pregnancy. Women go through so much to deliver. And culturally, we see allow women to go through so much in raising the children. No, personally, I believe that's not fair. I'm a woman, that's not fair. I don't have to be a woman, that's not fair. I know it, I feel it, and that's not fair. And then for me, my own role to say it's not fair is I need to play a role, right? To let men know that no, you have to be available. I need to let men, I need to know the world that if you want to parent, you need to be emotionally available, you need to be, physically available. Now, I know that other people will say, no, it's not the quantity of time you spend with the children, is the quality of time with your children. Well done. Clap for yourself. I get. Right? I understand that we have careers we need to pursue. Is very okay. We need to provide for our families. I'm not saying every man should be stay-at-home dad. No, I'm not saying every man to be a full-time house husband. No, all I'm saying is that through your career, you can be physically and emotionally available. Parenting takes time. Building a healthy home and marriage takes time. We can't try to conjure narratives because our job wouldn't allow us, Whether we like it or not, contemporary parenting has changed. We have the media, we have gadget our children are exposed to. If you don't fill that vacuum, social media will fill that vacuum, gadget will fill that vacuum, media will fill that vacuum, their friends will fill that vacuum. And then when you say, I desire to raise responsible children, the question is, are you playing those steps that will help you raise responsible children? A lot of times, we are not really putting in that effort. So to round up my story, I'm saying it's very okay to raise your children in such a way that meets your family value system, in such a way that aligns with your religious values, that aligns with your spiritual values, that aligns with what you stand for. I stand for inclusion. I stand for emotional availability. I stand for physically availability. I stand for every human being, children, every child having the opportunity to find and express their true essence. It's not going to be easy, but I believe we can do that. I'll stop here and then take questions if there are. Then for us to fill in those gaps or that inquiries or curiosity I've not said. So thank you once again for the opportunity to share my story.
Thank you so thank you so much. Thank you. I think this is my first time of hearing your story. I mean, I've heard bits and bits from what you share on social media, but I think that this equally my first time of hearing it like on a personal note and from you directly. So, while you were sharing, guys, please, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat box and would address them. If you have questions, right? So, still, you have a full-time house husband, stay at home dad now. If you have been fighting with your husband and you're wondering, okay, how do I even get to even make him be involved with my children? I'm not saying he should be a stay at home mother, but how do I even make him be physically and emotionally available? Please ask a man now. I may not have all the perspective. I will only give you a woman's perspective. So see someone who is doing it and rocking it. Ask your questions now, right? So while you were sharing, I kept on thinking,
Okay.
um, we are in such a culture where, like you said, men are permitted to be a certain type of way, you know, and there is so much, and we're a people who think, as in, to a very large extent, the average Nigerian African just thinks, my way is the way, my perspective is the perspective. We're not people who easily takes to change. We don't easily take to perspective that is not aligning with ours, right? So my question is, in all of this, I'm sure that you have received a lot of backlash, especially because you also share your stories on social media. I know a lot of people who might be doing what you're doing, who might have made the decision to be stay-at-home dads because of maybe their own experiences, because they want better for their kids, but they're not courageous enough to come out and share because they feel, well, it's not something that people will accept easily. But you are sharing, and I believe that you get a lot of backlash. Am I correct? And if yes, how have you been able to handle that for somebody who might be listening and wondering, oh, how do I share my story, or how do I handle backlash? I can you, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear. Can you hear now? No, no, no. I can't hear. Okay, so let me remove you. Go out and come back in. Maybe you should go out and come back in.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for for this question. And well,
Can you hear me?
like you said, I mean, a lot of people tell me, yes, coach.
Okay, guys, I think that there's a bit of a delay in the network. I think that there's a bit of a drag, right? But if I'm to recap what Coach Adeh has said before he comes, right, I understand that, most of our choices in life is based on the experiences that we have had, right? So for him, he grew up in a family system that you even think that would produce a strong person or a wholesome person, right? He grew up with his father as a pastor, but then he grew up in that family and said, I don't like what I'm seeing, right? I want to do things differently, right? I want to do things differently. And it starts from that decision. You want to do things differently and you want to do better for your kids. Welcome back. Let's see if we can hear you now. Please, you can take my
Yes.
question.
Can you hear me
Okay,
now?
yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. I get it was a network then. Thank you. I'm back. Okay. Now let me
Okay.
respond to your question. Now you're right. I get people who tell me that, coach, I want to be available, right? I want to be a stay-at-home dad. But I don't know how society will perceive me. I don't know how my friends will see me. And then I tell people, I truly understand with you. For me, I believe that you can train people how to relate with you. Let me share my personal experience. When I decided to be a stay-at-home dad and a full-time house husband, my parents didn't buy it. My mother-in-law didn't buy it. My father-in-law
Mm,
didn't buy it. As a matter of fact, my wife didn't buy it, right? Because for her, she was like, what will people say? People will say, um, my husband is irresponsible. He doesn't have a job. He's staying at home,
mm,
right? I remember one time my mother-in-law said, even if he's, having a shop, just have a shop, right? Has a
mm,
mask so that people will think, okay, he's doing something. I've had people say, we like you, you're a good man. Can we help you get a job? Right? Because they
mm,
feel no, too good to be staying at home now, right? You need to be
mm,
going, like other men, so that people will see
mm,
that you're responsible. Now,
mm,
I get where they're coming from. They're coming from a place of love, right? However, no one can love you like you love yourself. No one can love you
mm,
more than what you want to design for your family. No one can love you beyond the values you want to, design for your children, and then what you want to model for your family. And then I get where they're coming from. Now, let me flip the coin. There are people who have criticized me and said, oh, you now woman rapper. And I said, beautiful. I have a printed shirt, proud woman rapper, right? Like, see, for my wife, I go woman rapper the team where you see for my children, like I go stay at home that tire. So it's very okay if the world don't buy your idea of parenting, or if the world don't buy your idea on how you respect and then treat your partner. The good news is you teach them how to relate with you. Now, was it no? But today, my wife is my number one advocate for men being full-time house husband and be stay-at-home dad. Today, my mother-in-law is my advocate for saying, parents should homeschool their children. Today, my own parents are advocates, saying men should be emotionally available in the life of their partners. Is easy? No. Today, I have people, who run to me and say, I beg, please, I want to snap with this your shirt. I'm a full-time house husband. Oh, please, where can I get this your t-shirt? I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm a full-time house husband. There are people who tell me, wow, I love how you raise your family. I like how you are always showing on your shirt. I'm a proud woman rapper, right? Now people are coming to that realization. Now people are saying, oh, I want to identify with that. A few weeks ago, someone ordered shirts. Of course, my wife run a print on demand firm where they print shirts. Someone ordered for 7 copies of I'm a full-time house husband. Like, that's wow for me. 7 copies. Continue with what you're doing. The world is seeing, the world is aligning, and then people will key into your stories. Today is different. Today I find people who tell me I'm proud of what you do. Today I find people who say, oh no, please, I want you to share your story. I want you to come and encourage men that, listen, you can still be a stay-at-home dad, you can still be a faithful husband and still provide for your family. Today I'm being called to teach men how to do it. Today I'm being called to share my story. Of course, like here, I'm sharing my story because, right, I was open to share my story as a stay-at-home dad and a full-time house husband. So it's very okay if from the beginning the world didn't care for you. Continue. You are teaching them how to relate with you. You are modeling what you stand for. You are breaking transgenerational dysfunctionalities that the society have come to embrace. Keep on doing it. It's just a matter of time. The world to turn back and give a thumbs up. Just the way the world today have turned and then said, oh, we love what you're doing. Keep it up.
Yeah, thank you so much, thank you so much. That's so real. So there's another question, but before I get to that, what with everything you said, what I figured is, I think that it takes a lot of courage, and that courage
It
comes
does.
from a place. Yes, that courage also comes from a place of conviction in your why. So I think that a lot of people have a
True.
problem because they don't take time to consolidate their why and convince themselves. Because if you're able to
True.
convince yourself as to why you're doing what you're doing, to be hard for another person to convince you otherwise. So if you have taken the time to say, I want to do parenting differently, and you're listening to us, I want you to sit down and ask yourself, why do I want to do this, right? And list out all the reasons why and stare at them, convince yourself, and know that I'm on this journey. It's not going to be easy. Once you're convinced, it's hard for anything, any wind to blow you away, right? So there's another question. It says,
Mm.
how do you deal with overwhelm from the family front? How do you deal with overwhelm from the family front?
Okay. Okay. Well, for me, it's very easy. Like I said, we have support system we've built around our home. The first support system for us is my in-laws. Like I said, my in-laws are a few kilometers away from my house, less than 2, right? The children go there to sleep over. The children go there so that I can have time to do other things. And then secondly for us is we value self-care, right? I took off this week, I traveled just to go rest and then to unburden. So self-care for us is key. As a family, my wife goes on vacation twice a year. My wife have friends, they hang out, every month just to take ice cream, just do their ladies talk, right? They go hiking. I have my friends equally, we go hang around, we talk coaching, we talk therapy, we share professional experience, right? So for us, how we deal with overwhelm from the family front is we have designed our home around systems and frameworks that allow us know ourselves and then take care of ourselves, right? My wife knows what she does that helps her, unburden. I know what I do that helps me unburden. And then we have our family and friends, we have in-laws, that we can run to when we know we are in this place where we need space and time. So what I want to say is you need to know how to design your family system, right? What constitutes your governance system? As a family, do you have a system to unburden? Do you have a system to withdraw? Do you have a system for self-care? If you have that on ground, of course, it helps to deal with moments and times
Okay. I think you're breaking up a little bit, but I think that we got that
For your
right. So
partner and others.
okay, okay. All right. So I think that we got that. So essentially, you have to design. Essentially, you have to design your own system around what your realities are, right?
About that.
Regardless of what your regardless of what your realities are, the truth of the matter is that it takes, you know, that saying that says it takes a village to parent is very, very true, because if you're doing it alone, you're going to get
Yeah.
overwhelmed, and when you get overwhelmed, you're going to transfer aggression to the kids, right? So it actually takes a village. So like Coach Ade, you may not have your in-laws around, you may not
Yeah.
have your in-laws living around, but build your own village. You should have friends, trusted, keyword is trusted, family, friends,
And some
right?
partner.
Trusted is the keyword. Yes, do you understand? That are in your inner circle, that can be your village, be your community, right? I have friends where I can go and drop my kids who have kids around the same age group with my kids, right? And we know we have the same value system, and we know we are learning the same things. Remember when I told you yesterday that if you're learning this thing and your friends are not learning it, you're making a mistake. Because if you have friends who are in your inner circle, you people should be learning the same thing. If they're not training their own children, your children are at risk, right? So have people that are like your village, people you can trust, people who can relieve you from when you're overwhelmed, people you can trust, because anything can happen. There'll be times when you need someone to say, please, let me leave my kids with you for 1 hour, for 2 hours, and I'll be right back. So we need that support, every one of us, even if they are not family. Family is not only blood. I needed to point that out for someone who might be thinking, oh, I don't have my in-laws around, and stuff like that. Okay, so we have another question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think there's a
I hear
delay.
you. Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. So how do you cope with, someone is saying, let me put it on the screen. It says, how do you cope with changing this status quo when you don't have a good family system? How do you create one? I don't know if you understand that. So I think that this person is trying to say, where do you start from? Where do you start from? If you really want to do this, where do you start from? Coach Ade, is still with us? Uh, okay, I think we lost you. So I think we lost him. Okay, while we wait for him to come back, I'll just try to do a little bit of recap of what we have learned for those of us who are just joining. Coach Ade is a full-time house husband, a stay-at-home dad, and a homeschooling parent. So he's the one who's homeschooling his kids, not his wife, right? So he has moved away from the contemporary idea of what culture and religion has designed, and to say, oh, a man does this and a man does that. So the idea behind bringing him to this live stream is to show us that it's not about what society thinks. It's about what works for the family that you want to build and what works for the children that you want to raise. I think he's back. Okay. Okay, you're back. All right. So I don't know if
Sorry
you
about
got
my
the
network.
question. No problem. Well, we're in Nigeria.
No,
We
I didn't.
understand. So someone says, how do you cope with changing this status quo when you don't have a good family system? How do you create one? So I think what the person is trying to say is, where do you start from? Did you get that?
um, yeah, I did.
Okay.
So
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
for me I believe that changing the status quo starts from you. Have you dealt with yourself? You are part of the status quo. The status quo has, bit piece of the experience in you. So if you do not deal with yourself, it will be difficult for you to deal with the status quo. That's first. See, you have to carry your family along, and then again, it might mean you seeking help so that you join with your partner, right? Design an intentional value system for your family. Let me share a personal experience. For me, my journey through therapy, I had to work on myself, right? Now, because of how I was raised, like I was sexually abused as a little boy growing up. I saw my dad being, unfaithful to my mom. He was not available. So, right, I was raised in an environment where, we objectify women. You don't take women serious. I needed to work on myself. I had to go through therapy. I had to develop myself to build that awareness that no, I don't have to perpetuate what my culture gave to me. Right? That was the first step. Then secondly, I had to carry my partner along. We had to sit down with my wife to say, what does the kind of family system we want to design? How do we want to relate with our in-laws? What experience do we want our children to grow up experiencing? Right? So it took us so much time, right? Sharing idea, designing what we want our children to experience, and then how we want to relate ourselves, not forgetting that we equally came from a place of dysfunction. So you need to sit down, right, and look at the realities. Were you coming from a place of dysfunction? Is your partner coming from a place of dysfunction? Do you need help? Will you need guidance to design a cohesive family system? Have you worked on yourself, right? For you to design this kind of family value system, it takes help. You need help to work on yourself. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, I think you have. Yeah, most times when we say parenting starts with healing, we're not saying you're sick, right? I say that a lot, and I get people becoming
Yeah.
defensive. We're not saying you're sick. We're just saying that some of the things that you have accepted as normal, some of the things that all of us have accepted are normal, are actually dysfunction. And it takes you coming to a place of a certain level of awareness to accept, to realize that some of these things that we have accepted as normal are dysfunctional, right? Like, for instance, dehumanizing children. There are people who think it's
Yeah.
just a normal thing. That's what to do. That's how to. It takes a certain level of awareness to realize that these children are humans
Yeah.
too, right? So all of us need to heal if we want to do parenting differently. Heal from what our own upbringing has dumped on us. And it's only from that place that we can now say, okay, let's do things differently. And that's actually what it means to break generational cycle. So shout out to every parent, with Coach Adeh being our president, every parent out there who is breaking generational cycle. so um there's another question. Peggy says, do your kids attend a conventional school as well as homeschooling? So the question is, if your kids are attending a conventional school.
No, they don't attend
So,
conventional school. They homeschool,
like,
right? All
yeah,
their life is
yeah.
home and then school, they know, right? We design our curriculum ourselves, right? We design our system ourselves. We learn. Our learning is self-paced. They learn to the degree of their emotional and cognitive development. So we don't force them. We allow them have fun while they learn, and then we design our curriculum, what they need to know. We also understand what people homeschool. For us, we are homeschooling because we want them to develop at their pace. We want them
Their pace, yeah.
to imbibe the family values we have, and then we want them to grow up with our ritual values. And then that's one of the reasons why we homeschool. So you can be flexible with how you homeschool while allowing them have the kind of experience they desire. But to answer, our children don't attend conventional school. Is homeschool, like I always say, with idea.
Thank you so much. I think this brings us to the end of this conversation. It has been an amazing conversation. Learning from you, I'd say you guys, you are the real MVP, right? I mean, you're doing amazing.
Thank
We're
you so much.
learning, we're growing. Thank you to everyone who has joined in. If you learned something from this conversation, kindly share on your social media platform with the hashtag PSA conversation, and you can tag me at Vivian Okoye at Parent Summit Africa. Share the broadcast for people to learn as well. Follow Coach Adeh. He has amazing resources. He's a therapist. He has over 13 books that you can actually buy and learn from, right? So kindly follow him on Facebook. The name is Adeh Jones on Facebook. I think he's more active on Facebook than on Instagram. So kindly go follow. You will learn a lot. Trust me, I'm also learning on his page. And then to end this conversation, we want to say thank you to everyone who has joined. We look forward to you sharing everything you have learned on Facebook, on Instagram, on your WhatsApp statuses, and want to say an amazing thank you to our sponsors, the Bunker Abuja, who made this conversation possible. Thank you, Coach Adeh, for everything. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for the lessons. Okay, there's one more question before we run. Our next session
Thank
is
you,
by
dog. Thank you,
6.
dog.
Yeah. All right. So, someone say, how did you get the curriculum you are using to homeschool them? Can you share your system with us so we can emulate you? Titi Nature is asking. All right. So I don't know if that is something you can share, or if she should send you a message
Okay.
for you to share. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let me respond because other people might benefit.
All
Mine
right.
is not. It's not a rigid curriculum per se. Mine is a hyphenation of curriculum, right? A few years ago, I did ACE training, Accelerated Christian Education training, and then my wife is a teacher. She works in a conventional school, right? She loves children. She loves teaching children, but she said she doesn't have the patience to teach her children. So fine. So what we do is I bring my own ideas of ACE. She bring her ideas of education because that's what she read, right? She's a certified teacher, of course. Nigeria, we are funny people. So it's our ideas we are using to design a curriculum that allows us, raise our children how we want to raise them. So, however, I think there are curriculums you can get, online. You can get UK, curriculum. You can get the Nigerian-based curriculum. You can get ACE curriculum. Right? For me, advocate flexibility. What homeschooling does is it allows you personalize your learning to the peculiarities and then your family system, and then that's what we're doing. However, there are loads of options you can get out there, and then if you want in-depth evaluation, I can help you. I can help you with some of the resources I use. I can help you with the system I use, and then I can equally share one of the books I've written, homeschooling for Nigerian parents, with you, so that it can help you with if homeschooling is your line.
Okay. All right. So the next guest is already waiting for me. So thank you everyone. Please don't go anywhere. We have an amazing conversation coming up, and that's around blended families, parenting as a step parent. Amazing conversation. And now remember that you don't have to be a step parent to learn something. You don't have to be running a blended family to learn something. So please show up to this conversation and you'll definitely learn from the experience. Thank you so much, Coach Adeh, for everything. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, dog.